Refua Shlema. Please get better soon. Refua Shlema. We'll play tomorrow afternoon. Refua Shlema. Hashem can cure everyone. Refua Shlema. Then we'll have some fun.
Welcome to the Refua Radio Show with your host Yocheved Golani. Refua Radio, where your health is a priority.
Refua Shlema. Please get better soon. Refua Shlema. We'll play tomorrow afternoon. Refua Shlema. Hashem can cure everyone. Refua Shlema.
Okay, welcome to the Refua Radio Show, where your health is a priority. Today's topic is drugs. Lots of everyday and famous people we know, have died of accidental and even intentional drug overdoses. See the link on your monitor about that. Yuck. You know what I mean. Well, too bad Whitney Houston, Heath Ledger, Elvis, and a lot of other people never read Empower Yourself to Cope with a Medical Challenge. Pages 29 to 35 teach you how to minimize, even how to lose, all your physical pain with can-do techniques that cost less than a few dollars. Some of the ideas are from pain expert Dr. Neil Barnard. He's from Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. Excuse me while I stutter a little bit. Dr. Neil Barnard is from the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. I interviewed him for a news story years ago. He's quite a guy. Some of the other content in that section of the book, in the Empower Yourself book, comes from my personal experiences. Please trust me, when I needed to recover from a busted face and a crushed elbow on my dominant arm, of course, I was very motivated to lower my pain, and I did, to the total astonishment of my medical team, and me too. Part of the solution included indulging in my sense of humor. Listen to this. This is what I wrote in the book. I fell in an awkward position, and I awoke in unspeakable pain with people staring down at me. My broken elbow was tended to by creative surgeons who prevented the need to amputate my mangled arm with innovative surgery. The awfully painful wait for surgery and the indescribable agony of my post-surgical arm convinced the medical team to give me morphine. To this day, I remember how hard I found it to speak clearly in any language, I speak several, and that my pain seemed as strong as ever. Morphine was no help. I began aggressive physical and occupational therapy. Within weeks, I developed an odd glow on my affected, very swollen hand. The skin was shining with sweat even when I sat still. My pain was off the charts, and I fainted so often that friends rushed me to the emergency room again and again. In the observation ward, an astute doctor realized that I had developed something called RSD-CRPS. It's a degenerative condition. It involves unspeakable pain while muscles, skin, and bone deteriorate. The reflexive sympathetic dystrophy story can become worse. It tends to spread around the body, crippling an otherwise healthy human being. It is a very dangerous situation. Nobody knows why some people develop RSD-CRPS, and nobody knows how to stop it. I mean, nobody in the medical world. Was I scared? No! I was terrified! My prayers pierced the heavens and the ears of anyone standing near me as I begged heaven for relief. I tried so many potential remedies for my problem, reduced therapy, relaxation techniques, and more. I recovered from the astonishing pain, fainting response, and the deterioration of my body parts within weeks. Shocked is hardly the reaction of my conscious mind or that of my doctors. We were delighted, and we were intrigued. Most people with RSD-CRPS, they don't recover in less than 6 months, and many take a year or more to recover, if they recover. Okay, so I wrote about my problem and the recovery at the companion blog to my book. You'll see the URL up on your monitor. Months later, a man in the USA contacted me, eager to know my advice on how to help his adult son, suffering more than a year with RSD CRPS. Now, I'd only had it for a couple months. I was fully aware of the crippling condition that this stranger was suffering. Here's the message, condensed for the show, that I sent to Dad back then. Yes, RSD tends to move around the body. Mine did too. I refused to tell doctors or friends that that was happening so that nobody would focus on it, especially me. That tactic worked. Pain decreased to the area where it had begun within days. If it'll work for you too, that's great. And if you need to tell your loved ones and or your medical team about the pain, you do so with my blessings. Each of us is on our own unique path to productive relief. Okay, so back to you. Meanwhile, I was a happiness queen, acting as if happiness were all I could think of. I refused to speak of the pain and the debilitation or the fear I felt. I deserved an Oscar, and I loved to joke around, so I told jokes often. My doctors were laughing so hard that they became convinced that RSD is not selective about attacking only sad, mad, or worried people. Why? Because that's what the textbooks tell them happens. I was defying it. Listeners, I've used other techniques to lower my pain too, including some very effective craniosacral therapy. Those techniques are described in the Empower Yourself book, and I know that some of you are reading it now according to the private messages I've been receiving since the Refua radio show began. Here's more of what I shared with the dad of that young man battling to protect his entire body from being wasted by RSD crips. I wrote, I'm not Braslav, but Rebbe Nachman, a leader of a certain Hasidic Jewish sect, had made it quite clear that an increasingly positive attitude literally unlocks the kedusha, the sanctity, to cure physical and emotional illness. And most of you would know of Norman Cousins. He brought the world lots of proof of the same thing in a secular vocabulary with his book, The Anatomy of an Illness. It's famous for telling the world that laughter literally cures people. I told the dad, get your son into the habit of telling jokes or sharing good memories. The whole family and neighborhood can and should do this with him. The idea here is to override the focus on pain. Distracting the brain with cheerful thoughts can literally stop RSD cold. I've proved it. I have no idea if one or all of the tactics I used stopped my RSD. But the craniosacral therapy was the last thing I tried after everything mentioned above, and the RSD became permanent history. I no longer needed the other pain-killing techniques I'd been using. So, empower yourself or someone else to cope with a medical, mental health, or disability challenge at the link to buy the Empower Yourself book. Or you can just go to booklocker.com. You can type in my name or the book's title in the search bars. And if my name is hard for you to spell, it's Yochev, as in very, E-D. Last name, Golani. That CH in my first name, it's pronounced the same way as in Bach, the musician. Store owners and organization people, you can make bulk orders at the URL found on this screen. Send in your questions and comments about various health issues, everybody, and about the Refua radio show. Send me a message at giveretgolani@gmail.com. That's giveretgolani@gmail.com. I can address you and your concerns on pre-recorded audio. I will not use your name if you want to remain anonymous, and I do look forward to hearing from you. Advertisers, you're invited to contact me directly to discuss advertising opportunities on the Refua radio show. Send an email to me right here, giveretgolani@gmail.com. Face your medical problems with dignity and face your future with optimism.
When someone is not feeling well, to visit them I'll go. In the hospital or in their home, and then I'll watch them grow. It makes them feel real warm inside, and I feel good too. It's called Bikur Cholim, this mitzvah you can do. Refua Shlema, please get better soon. Refua Shlema, we'll play tomorrow afternoon. Refua Shlema, Hashem can cure everyone. Refua Shlema, then we'll have some fun. When someone is not feeling well, to visit them I'll go.